Coming up here on Dolphins Today, we have a big show planned for you. I'm going to react to the Mike Florio report from this morning that Tom Brady almost joined the Dolphins as an owner. Also, some Dolphins news. They have re-signed John Jenkins. I'm going to break down what that means for the defensive line. And even though they have re-signed Jenkins, do they still need to add another defensive tackle in free agency? There's plenty of big-name players still out there for Miami to get, including Calais Campbell. That's coming up on Dolphins Today. Hello and welcome into Dolphins Today. I am your host, Will Scott. And Dolphins fans, we have gained some serious ground on Seahawks today, but we're still behind them in subscribers. So please hit that big red subscribe button right now. So as we have discussed on this show, we have digested, processed these Tom Brady Miami rumors is coming to Miami as a player. But Mike Florio reporting this morning that Brady almost joined the Dolphins as a minority owner. Here's what Mike Florio had to say and what was a shocking and surprising report this morning. When Tom Brady retired on February 1st, his next move already was coming into focus. Per multiple sources, Brady eventually would have been introduced as a minority owner of the Dolphins. The announcement would have been made as soon as the following week, which is the week that preceded the Super Bowl. This, of course, comes after that Dale Arnold report on March 25th that Brady might go to Miami as the quarterback of the Dolphins. Mike McDaniel quickly shutting that down. And then this morning, Mike Florio reporting that he almost came as minority owner of the Miami Dolphins. So a very interesting development here. But I'll say this, I would love to have Tom Brady as a minority owner of the Dolphins. Think about what that would mean for free agents. Tom Brady's going to call these free agents and say, hey, come play for me and come play in Miami. Who's going to say no to that? So, yes, I understand, Dolphins fans, I understand that Tom Brady played for our biggest rival for 20 years and beat us a lot, but let's put that past us and let's bring him in. He's won everywhere he's been. Let him be the owner. Tua's still the starting quarterback. Let me make that very clear. Tua's the quarterback. Tom Brady's going to have somewhat of a front office ownership role. So let me ask you, would you like to have Tom Brady as an owner of the Dolphins, a minority owner? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm typing my Y for yes. So what does this mean now for the Dolphins, now that this is coming back, kind of resurfacing these new Tom Brady rumors? Well, let's get into it. Let's take a look at this timeline. Brady announced his retirement on February 1st. Shortly thereafter, a few hours before actually, Brian Flores announced his lawsuit against the NFL. I didn't even realize that was on the same day until I went back and looked at those two dates this morning. Those two things both happened on February 1st. A few weeks later, there was a report that came out, also from Mike Florio, that the Dolphins wanted a Tom Brady, Sean Payton package deal, but that didn't come into fruition after the Brian Flores lawsuit. March 13th, Brady ends a short-lived retirement. About 2 weeks after that, the Tom Brady Miami rumors really started to heat up after that Dale Arnold report. And then on April 7th, Tom Brady, today obviously April 7th, Tom Brady coming maybe as a potential owner to Miami. And the really interesting thing here is that Brady has a close relationship with Dolphins minority owner Bruce Beal, who is also the chairman of the Miami Dolphins. Bruce Beal is the heir apparent to Stephen Ross. So if Stephen Ross steps aside from owning the Dolphins or is forced to sell the team, again, I remind you, the NFL currently investigating the allegations made against Stephen Ross that he paid, or at least offered to pay, Brian Flores to lose more games. So Bruce Beal, Tom Brady's really close friend, would become majority owner if Ross is forced to sell the team. Mike Florio saying that Tom Brady and Sean Payton that was going to happen, and then the Brian Flores lawsuit was filed pretty much the same day Tom Brady retired, and then that pulled the plug on the Sean Payton, Tom Brady plan that the Dolphins had in place. Mike Florio also saying that after Brady became a minority owner, the Dolphins would have gotten the rights to employ Sean Payton. They would have gotten the Buccaneers to agree to either trade Tom Brady or let him go to the Dolphins. So I think that these rumors, are somewhat legit because, again, Mike Florio is reporting this, a very trustworthy individual in the NFL journalism world. It sounds like the Dolphins were almost in the movie Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell. It almost became the Flint Tropics. Will Ferrell was a player owner for the Flint Tropics. You almost had Tom Brady as a quarterback and as a minority owner for the Dolphins. How wild would that have been? That's like something out of a movie. Tom Brady was this close to making the Miami Dolphins the Flint Tropics. And look, I think these rumors were legit. I think that we've heard way too much about Tom Brady in Miami for those rumors not to be legit, but I also think it's clear that Miami has moved on. They moved on when they hired Mike McDaniel instead of Sean Payton. And Mike McDaniel is all in on Tua Tagovailoa, and the front office has done everything that they can do to support Tua. They've given him Tyreek Hill and an offensive line and some good running backs as well. I don't know if the Dolphins would have been that aggressive in free agency if Tom Brady was the starting quarterback instead of Tua Tagovailoa. So look, Brady might join the Dolphins, but it's not going to be as a player. I think we can forget about Tom Brady coming to the Miami Dolphins as the quarterback. This will be more than likely his last year in the NFL, and it's going to be with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But who knows? Next year, he's still going to want to be part of football in some way. He might want to be in a front office or ownership role, and I think with the connections he has with Bruce Beal, who very well could be the next majority owner of the Dolphins, Tom Brady will more than likely, is my prediction, join the Miami Dolphins in an ownership role after his playing days are over, because Brady wants to retire in Miami. And can you blame him? Who doesn't want to be in Miami? South Beach is the place to be. So I think Tom Brady to the Dolphins as a owner or some front office role likely to happen after his playing days are over. So look, I want you to give me your one-word reaction to the latest Brady news. I'm sure a couple of y'all are going to type annoyed or something like that. I would say never-ending would be the one word that I would say. I guess that's two words. Is that one word? Producer Jack, does that count? He says it counts. So never-ending, because right when you think we're going to stop hearing about Brady in Miami as a player, now it's happening in a potential ownership role. So look, get used to it, because next offseason we're going to be hearing a lot of the same things. And we're going to be hearing a lot about the draft as well. A lot of draft coverage coming up here on Chat Sports. I'm going to have a Dolphins mock draft dropping for y'all in the next week. So go ahead and go to chatsports.com/Dolphins draft. Pick up your official Miami Dolphins draft cap. Got some really fresh draft hats for y'all at that link. Again, it's chatsports.com/Dolphins draft. John Jenkins re-signed with the Miami Dolphins this morning. Of course, was the backup defensive tackle last season, his second stint with the team after he was with the team a few seasons ago. One of the many guys that they've brought back. They re-signed Emmanuel Ogbah, Duke Riley, Elandon Roberts, and Brennan Scarlett as well. So they're pretty much bringing back everybody from the defense last year. And why not? The defense was fantastic later in the season, and that's why I really like this move. You're keeping that core group of players together. You needed some depth at defensive tackle, because right now, even after the Jenkins move, you only have 2 defensive tackles on your roster. So I like the move. It was important to bring Jenkins back, who is really a important piece of that defense, both on and off the field. Players love him as a locker room presence. Barry Jackson saying the Dolphins, outside of Beagle and Coleman, really running it back, bringing back that defense that was fantastic in the final 9 games of the season. So Barry Jackson, the Miami Herald, pointing out that, look, The Dolphins, in the last 9 games of the season, outstanding defensively, only gave up 15.5 points per game, and they're looking to bring a majority of those guys back. We're bringing a lot of subs in, by the way. Almost 1,000 new subscribers in the last week. Help us get to over 1,000 new subscribers and hit that big red sub button right now. The Dolphins, even after signing John Jenkins back, still only have 2 defensive tackles on the roster, Jenkins and Raekwon Davis. So I still think you have to add another defensive tackle. Here are some options that are available for Miami. Let's start with Calais Campbell, someone who we talked about the other day. He played at the U, consistently has been a top 10 defensive lineman in the NFL. Now he's old, he's 35 years old, so I'm for it. If it's a short-term, cheap, team-friendly deal, I would love to bring Campbell in. Sheldon Richardson, another name that's available, 2.5 sacks for Minnesota last year. Akeem Hicks, 3.5 sacks for the Bears. He's one of the top free agents still out there, not even just top free agent defensive lineman. I'm sure a lot of teams interested in his services. Larry Ogunjobi as well. Ogunjobi, he has been really good throughout his entire career. Had a fantastic season with Cincinnati last year, 7.5 sacks. And then Star Lotulelei has been unbelievable as well in Buffalo. So 5 really solid options if you're the Dolphins to choose from here. I prefer Calais Campbell. I think he's your best option, and you may be able to get him on a cheap, team-friendly deal. Looking at the Dolphins' defensive line depth chart right now, Emmanuel Ogbah on the left side, Christian Wilkins on the right side. You feel really good about those two. Raekwon Davis didn't have a great season last year. I still believe in him in that spot. But either way, I think you have to add another defensive tackle, even if it's another backup and you want to go with Raekwon as the starter. But you need more depth at that position. Right now, the Dolphins only have 2 defensive tackles on the roster. Maybe they'll draft one as well. So should Miami still add another defensive tackle, type A for add or type P for pass? I'm definitely typing my A for add. Thanks so much for tuning in to Dolphins Today. Again, if you have not subscribed, please hit that big red subscribe button. This has been your host, Will Scott. We'll see you next time.